Hi, welcome back to the Spotlight. I am your host, Nicole Pogue, Navy veteran and director here at Arizona Veterans Resource Center. We are live in the Defender's Den here on our new platform to bring to you people from all over the country or just anywhere in the area. So it's hot outside, and this is the best way to get people aligned who are in alignment with our mission and our values here. And what we do on this show is highlight veteran voices, people who are leaders in the community who have resources to bring to the resource center for us to unveil to you when you come in the door. We have it all here as our proverbial one-stop shop. And we also like to bring to you events and stories and just engagement in general, let you share in the success of the veterans around us and the great leaders and organizations that exist out here that you may not know about, and keep you up to date as to what's happening here at the Arizona Veterans Resource Center. And with that, we cover a lot of ground. It's kind of the end of the season right now of events, and our heads are spinning. A lot of people aren't getting a lot of time off, but that's great because we're in that crunch time right before the summer hits. And what a better way to express that than to lead into the 250-year anniversary of America and Memorial Day that is coming up this weekend. So, here at the Arizona Veterans Resource Center, our mission is to ensure that the family and the veteran don't feel alone in their transition, and to know that we're here with a trauma informed approach to meet the veteran and the family where they are, and let them know that that's okay. And then our vision for the center is to make sure that we can do this, we can recreate this throughout the state. If this model unveils in the way that I hope, in the way that I envision, then we might succeed in that endeavor and post this up in the southern part of the state as well as the west side and northern as well to reach the rural populations and the native areas. So we're so excited for that to happen. And we're constantly doing updates in the background. And I want to show you the new schematic that we have. It's a 3D rendering that I brought to the drop zone I mentioned to you guys last week. It was a really cool event. I lost my voice after that. I went to two events. I had to go to the west side after that for the Southwest Veterans Chamber of Commerce and got to see a whole another network of folks out there. It was so cool. It was at the Martin very cool place. And I wanted to give a shout out specifically to the Southwest Veterans Chamber of Commerce, who is in an active merger with the American Veterans Magazine. So if you would like to know more, there is a link down below in the description box for you to follow and see if your organization or your company would like to gain some traction and be a part of our magazine, part of the merger, and expand your business, grow your network by joining the Veterans Chamber of Commerce. They've helped us. What we do with the funds there is create a donation fund to delve out to organizations who are combating veteran suicide. And we received two of those checks in the past. And now I have the pleasure of sitting on the board and making sure that we find other active agencies that are in this fight with us and make sure that they're seen and advertised and known so that the veterans know where to go to get support. And I have one of those people on the show today that can speak to that in that vein. And our successes lately are we have found a place to exist during the interim as we build here. All the walls are coming down and we're building the everlasting resource center for Arizona. I'm so excited to show you guys this. I blew it up on a foam board and brought it to Drop Zone. And it's so eye catching that people are walking by. They're like, what's this? What's happening here? And who gets to sit here and here? I'm like, well, where do you want to sit? And they're like, okay, how much is this? I'm like, it's free to you as long as you tag us, support us, collaborate with the other agencies that are here. There's flex offices. We're bringing in the whole gamut. We really do want to be a one-stop shop. So when a veteran comes in, I get to stand by my word, which is we don't say no. We're not going to turn you around and pass the buck and hand you a business card. We're going to make sure that you are successful leaving the door. And by that, I want to introduce Mr. Derek Doughty. Welcome to the Spotlight, Derek.
Yeah,
Can you hear
thank
me?
you, Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Hear you
Yeah.
perfectly.
Well, I got to meet you through a friend in the community. She's a staffing agent and she introduced us. And so had you guys come in here for a little tour and spiel and discussion. And I want you to let the audience know how that affected you and and what you're doing to implore the community to hire veterans or job seekers in general in the population.
Yeah, I'll start with the first thing, how it affected me going inside of your operation. Being a veteran myself, serving 8 years in the Army, and then transitioning to the civilian workforce. I think when I got out in late 2006, December 2006, I don't think there was a lot of resources available at the time, at least none that I was aware of. So going inside of your facility and hearing about the partnerships that you have, the care that you put behind them, and then being open to all veterans, regardless of what their status is, helping them find meaning after a military career. I think I told you I had left holding back tears and I was very sincere. Like what you guys were doing was really impactful and I love seeing it. And I like seeing it inside of my community where I grew up and where I still try to impact veterans on a positive note day in and day out. So yeah, I work for a company called Aerotek. We do staffing and recruiting. So my portion as an account manager is to go out and find relationships in the Phoenix area. They're looking to hire all different types of labor. We work in an industrial market. So it could be everything from entry level general labor up to like senior level project managers and anything in between. So veterans getting out of the military have a ton of experience that they can put on a resume that they may not know how to put it on a resume. And they may not know how to correlate their experience from uniform into civilian clothes. My goal, working with you now and in the future and with other organizations is to try to help veterans close that gap, either by helping them. Um, how do you, you know, how do you do an interview? What's the right way to do it? How you show up for an interview, or how you can prepare your resume to really highlight the skills you got from the military to translate into the civilian workforce. So I love doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. So it's pretty rewarding for me. I love it.
That's awesome. Thank you for your service. I see your shadow box back there. I don't know if you can see mine. I got, all the coins and stuff. What is that? Airborne? I can't see all that.
It's the 101st, and I can kind of scoot. I got my flags and my other stuff over
Right.
here.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's my little hangout spot in the house.
Our
My me wall.
Your me wall, yeah, celebrating yourself. That's so huge. Reminding yourself where you came from, your roots, and everything. And our producer here, Happy Jack Media, he's an award-winning documentary filmmaker. His film is called "This Is Not a Draft." Have you seen it?
I haven't, but text it to me later. I was looking for something to write it down with. I'll watch it.
Yeah, we've had a couple showings here in the valley, and it's really cool. It shows, uh, you know, a couple different accounts from different service members during 9/11 and what it was like over there. And I thought the title was so catchy, and it's such a moving, real film about all the things. I can't even give it justice. I can't even give a synopsis, but definitely I would like to. I'll send that to you and make sure that the audience knows as well. So
Yeah, definitely watch.
a lot of the stories in there talk about the transition coming home from conflict or just coming home from being a service member in general. Just donning the uniform does something to the soul, to the perspective, the outlook, the view of the world, right? So when hiring a veteran, what kind of accommodations do civilian contractors or employers, what are the barriers or what do they need to know? And what are veterans reporting back to?
Oh, man, I think over the last decade or so, companies have been a lot more open to, a majority of them are open to not specifically looking for like a college degree. I think this isn't just from, obviously not just from me, but from people all around the country saying, hey, veterans are coming out of the workforce and they have really good experience. Like, it's small things like attention to detail, but think about the discipline that it takes just to stand in formation for an hour. Like probably most of the people that are going to listen to this have had to do that or change a command or some other crap, and it sucks. Now you take that discipline and focus and you apply it to a workforce, and maybe it's welding, maybe it's something in data entry, Excel, programming, but you have someone that's dedicated, disciplined, and focused. And I think over the last decade, we've seen more civilian companies more apt to looking at a military resume and trying to find a way to transcribe it into civilian language. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Um, knowing that this person that they're going to bring into their office, their shop, is probably going to be, a great employee. From the veteran side, the most things I hear from the veteran side are, how the hell do I write a resume? I think I told you when I sat down with you, a buddy of mine did, God, it was like 20 something years. Um, and he knew what I did working in staffing and employment and sent me his resume. And I think I told you, like, he had something about like Nipper and SIPRNet in there, which for maybe civilian people is a secure internet server that you're supposed to have a clearance to be on or to operate on. I remember asking him, I was like, Phil, why would you put this in here, dude? Like, no one knows what that means. Nobody cares what that means. So we spent a couple hours going through his resume, but this is a guy that, is a dedicated, smart, intelligent individual. And he's like, I don't know how to write my resume for the civilian world. Company side, I think they're being more understanding and more appreciative of veterans that are, looking to work wherever their operation is. And then on the military side, it's still pretty consistent with, like, how do I integrate back into the workforce?
Yeah. It's a struggle. So we have Arizona at work in the house 3 days a week, and we also have Diana Crane, retired chaplain. She comes in. She is the executive director at the Goodwill Career Center in Phoenix. So she comes here on Wednesdays to help veterans do just that. So writing a federal resume. And those go through an AI generated system. So if it's not hitting the keywords, it gets pushed out because there's like a deck of thousands of these things. So it's really important to have the keywords in there so they can get processed through. And she has a really cool software that it's really easy to build the resume within that. Do you guys have similar software?
We do have a similar software, but I will say, when you're writing a resume, you don't want to take the, like, personal touch out of it. I want to talk to the veteran and hear his or her experience. I want them to be a part of writing their resume with me. I don't want to just look for keywords. I understand that's an important thing, and we can find those to put in there using our AI generative tool, but I don't want to just leave it up to a robot, behind a computer screen to do it.
I love that because when a veteran or a family member comes in here, we tailor the approach to them. Like I said, we meet them where they are and we want to hear their story. We want to know the whole thing. It's not just a one off transaction that's happening here. It's like, first and foremost, drop your shoulders, take a breath, like you're safe. You made it here. We're going to help you get to the goal line, right? But I want to know the whole story because so much gets left out in those little nuanced details that are the thing, the obstacle that they're not seeing. Like if we go back to boot camp, they break you down as an individual to build you back up as a team. But you
Mhm.
you have to be broken down to that foundational piece just to see where you are, to make sure that you're not lying to yourself about where you are and what you can handle and what capacity you have. I mean, I don't even think it's a capacity issue. It's just like making it known, this is everything that's in front of me. I'm not lying to myself. There is real work here. That way we're not wasting time and we don't want to have to see them come back because it's very stressful to get it all lined up. And we want them to be a part of that. Like, what are your goals? What does your quality of life look like? If nothing was in your way, where do you see yourself? Like, why not have that? Like, we can get after it.
Well, kind of, I'm going to dive into that a little bit. When you leave the military, you know, a lot of times, you'll have leadership or, recruitment, NCO, like, oh, what are you going to do when you get out? Oh, you don't have anything lined up. Like, good luck, man, see you in a year. And I think
That's the shit they say when you come out of jail. You know?
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see you back here.
yeah, yep, you're going to get hooked up again and come back. But when veterans come out, they hear that. Or if you left, this is going to sound kind of shitty. If you left and you're not in a leadership position, you may feel like you don't have anything to bring to the table. I say that, based off a conversation with a friend of mine that I had. He left outside of a leadership position and felt like, man, I just wasted 4 years. I don't have any leadership on my resume. It's like, dude, hold on a second. Just like you said, let's hear the whole story. Let's talk about your career. I happen to have been with him through his career. And I was like, dude, you have tons of leadership. Just because it wasn't in a defined leadership role in the military, that stuff translates so damn well to the civilian workforce, but they just don't know how to do it. And I think it kills their confidence and it's crummy. Yeah.
That's exactly what we see here is like that crushed confidence. And, if you don't have self esteem, the best way to regain it is to do esteemable acts. So just getting the person into that forward momentum, just getting them going that's the hard part. That's a little, and then the discipline to keep it rolling. But just helping them launch from where they are definitely will rebuild their confidence. That's why we try to do those little small tokens, those little dopamine rewards like, I can do this. And then things that the recall comes up, right? They're like, yeah, oh, we just see things different. We've seen the world differently. And I think the vocabulary, there might be some semantics that are different when we join the workforce outside of the military. And Kamisha Guy from Quiet Waters, they have a family readiness program. They really help with this transition piece. I mean, they teach out at Luke Air Force Base. It's a really cool thing that they're running here. I wanted to ask about the culture of the corporate versus military because like I don't know about you, but when I went to college and like the PTSD really started to come up for me, I I had a really hard time fitting into that culture. Like a lot of because I was 27, but I thought I was old when I started school. And I was like, all these kids, they don't have any discipline or they're so rude and they're not listening. And you need to be like at attention when you're, watching the professor do their deal up there in the auditorium or whatever, what class you were in. And I was just pointing out all of the defects in the audience of my peers.
Yeah.
And I really struggled with that because I wanted to like reprimand all of them. Here in my knife hand. But what are you
Yeah.
gonna like, girl, you don't have any rank out here. So what are you gonna do? And so like what are the considerations and like I said earlier, accommodations that civilian employers need to know about, or do we have to fit into their square box? Like,
I think veterans have to fit into, well, for one, I think there's accommodations. I think you take into consideration where the individual's coming from, their past. You hired them for a reason. You saw something in an employee or in a candidate that made you want to make, God, I just tongue tied myself. During the interview, you somewhere decided that you wanted this person to be on your team as an employee or as a leader or whatever it is. I'll use myself as an example. When I first got out of the Army, um, I'd done 3 deployments and I went to work for a family business, welding. And I'd grown up welding. I knew how to do it. It was just kind of something easy to fall into. So the support was there. I worked with my dad and uncle and guys in the shop that I've known since I was 5 years old. Not joking. Like they knew me since I was little. It was a very comfortable environment. I left there after 2 years and went to the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol was very much like the military. You could flip people off, you cuss, all your coworkers, very much it's a military, quasi military environment. You wear a uniform, you carry a gun, you go to an academy, it's like boot camp. And then I did that for, I don't know, 6.5 years. And I went into, so now, God, it's like 15 years of wearing a uniform, kind of say what you want to say, wear your emotions on your sleeve. If you're pissed at someone, you can tell them to F off. And then I got my first corporate job with Aerotek. Um, I remember my sisters worked for the company for a long time, like 20 something years, probably 15 years at the time of this. My boss he was right. I was wrong. I admit that now. Um, but he was pissing me off. So I ended up telling him, I was like, hey, dude, if you don't get away from me, I'm going to flip my desk and beat your ass.
yeah,
So it was a joke in the office for a long time. But yeah, my director called me in and was like, hey, what the hell are you doing, man? And I said, no, I didn't touch him. I just set clear boundaries of what was going to happen. He kept messing with me.
clear boundaries. I set an ultimatum. If you don't do this, dude, I'm gonna kick your ass. Boundary.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was like, no, like, you think that's okay? And I was like, honestly, like, I figured that was okay. I thought about it before I did it. And I figured I was in the right. And he's like, you were not in the right. So we're going to work from home for a couple of days. And I was like, cool, fair. Please don't fire me. So there's definitely a learning curve for veterans. Figure out what the learning curve is. You assimilate when you go to a different unit. You figure out what to do when you go to boot camp, basic training. You figure out what to do when you go to your unit. You figure out what to do when you go to a different squad or when you get promoted. It's the same thing. You go into civilian workforce and you figure out what you can and can't do, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Maybe you're in an office where you can drop F bombs and you can say that to your boss. Rare office, tell me where it is.
Right.
Yeah. but you figure out what you can and can't do. And I think veterans are really good at adapting and overcoming. And that's a perfect example. We're great at adapting and overcoming. We do it in every situation for the last 250 years. The individual veteran that listens to this podcast or steps inside of your guys' facility, they've done it before. There's no reason they can't do it again. And I do think, going back to what you said a few minutes ago, I think the language of how we treat people, you're leaving the military where you get beat down by your NCOs. I know I was guilty of it. I know that it happened to me. And now you're going into a workforce where if somebody's underperforming, you say, hey, Derek, let's sit over here. You're underperforming in this area, dropping F bombs or doing whatever, or you're not meeting your metrics. They're not diminishing you for hours and hours on end or smoking or thrashing you, trying to make you be a better person so you're better for their team. And that was hard for me to understand when someone would come and say, hey, you're doing this wrong. It's like, no, I'm not. You're doing it wrong. Like, yeah. But I think we're very adaptable, and I think we're made to transition. We just need to figure out a better way to do it and support each other when doing it.
That's great. That is so great. What kind of event can we do that would help do this kind of skill building, like together if
I
we ran an
would
event
love,
here, like mock things or
yeah, I would do, I think for me, where I could probably benefit people the most would be I could help them with their resumes. I could help them with mock interviews. God, I don't know if you could think of anything else. I think maybe just general behavior inside of a corporate environment.
I think that is the key, is helping them through that transition of being comfortable in their new surrounding and not giving up before it has time to coalesce because it's just right around the corner. It's just I would like to have the ones who re-enter the workforce. Like we get a lot of successes here with AZ at work. And once the veteran is in their role, I'd like to hear back from them. Like, what are their struggles? And like I said at the beginning, what are your goals? Are you looking to build to rise through their hierarchy in that system? Is this just something to do until you find your big gig or until your side hustle takes off or until the wife or the husband and figures out what they're doing. Are they transitioning from the military to school and then from their school program to whatever? That's why I want to know the whole story about the family and how we can help them. Because if they've been out of work for a while, then their resources are really low. Then they just land a job and there's going to be like that 2 week buffer before the first paycheck, which is probably already set for bills in the future.
Yeah.
So it's a long, little tedious process, and we want to make sure we hold them through the whole thing to ultimately deliver that final success. And I know that Kathy Gallowitz, she's with Vanguard Veteran. She's the founder there. And she does this. She's a veteran champion trying to get civilian employers to hire veterans and why. She's got an amazing slide deck. So I can't wait for the build to get done so we can keep bringing these institutions and organizations and contractors in here to share all the little tiny things that we all do differently, but are in alignment with the same goal. We just had a client come in today, and on paper, she looks phenomenal. So I was just like, I had to hear the story a few times from my case manager. I was like, so what's the issue? What's the service she's asking for? Because I don't see it. And like having not been able to sit down with her, I just couldn't understand. But so there's the personal development piece underneath that. So we might have uh, went through the ranks seamlessly, or got all the medals and the pins and whatnot. But out here, it's different because they don't identify those steps to get there. There's no like real awards and stuff that's I don't know
Yeah. And I,
the coins or the dopamine things of reaching that level. Or I haven't been in the market. If you're working in a market field, is it
and I
monetary?
don't, God, I don't know.
For me, it's personal and professional development are one and the same for me.
I'd probably say that's where I get the most bang for my buck personally, even outside of veterans, because, our company works with everybody, anybody that's looking for a job, we're a resource for them. So you find you're talking about personal development. It feels really good when you figure out what their goals, their skills, and their interests. What do you want to do? What are you good at doing? What are you interested in doing, 5 years down the road?
Yeah, like you don't want to just give them a one-off job. You want to give them something that gives them like a good quality of life,
Yeah,
like a new
absolutely.
mission, a purpose, like not just a 9 to 5. Which I don't even know
It
if
would,
that exists anymore with AI coming on and everything.
I don't know. Well, if it's 9 to 5, I work like 7 to 6 every day.
I don't even know what a time clock looks like anymore. I don't know what
Yeah.
day it is half the time.
I think it's rewarding when you can help people, that personal development. I love doing it for veterans. Every time we get a resume with something that says veteran comes across one of our recruiters' desks, people always ask me about it. I'll typically call them, kind of get their story and have a more like personable conversation with them. I think a lot of times when we reach out to people, they're like, "Oh God, a recruiter's calling me. I'm looking for a job," and it's very robotic. Like, no one wants that shit. Like, we want to talk to a real person and find out what you really want to do in life, and try to align you up with a career. But the dopamine thing, um, yeah, like, you get the dopamine from a coin that you get or an award that you get. You don't want people to forget that. It feels good, but just find another way to get it. Maybe it is money. Maybe it is like you found it helping people, helping veterans. Maybe it's just something as simple as like paying rent, paying your mortgage. Like that feels pretty good to me.
Yes.
You boost from helping people. Like when I talk to someone 2 years down the road, I have a guy that I worked with, actually a veteran too. He's a Marine veteran, and he was moving from Texas to Arizona. Called me when he was in Texas. Found him a job welding out in the West Valley. Left there, went to a different company. But anyways, he got the job welding in the West Valley, and that got him on his feet to get his family out here. So this is like 7 or 8 years ago. We still meet up like 2 times a year for beers, and it's honestly probably when his wife reminds him. She'll be like, "Hey, you need to reach out to Doughty. You owe him a beer." So he calls me up, we go out for a beer, we BS for a couple hours, catch up, and then we're on our way. But I like seeing that he has a career now and that I was able to help him get a foothold into a company. And now he's doing great. He's not worried about his family having a roof over his head, bought a house last year. Kids are doing great, going to school. Yeah, me and Henry catch up and we BS, and he always tells me thanks. It feels good. That's my coin or my award. So just in
That's
a different way.
so great. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does your coin look like, veteran, or whoever's watching the show right now? What does your coin look like? What gives you that shiny thing you put in your pocket that makes you feel good, that you showed up for your mission, for yourself, for your community? I know that, I've been going through like a personal, I don't know, female thing lately, and the only thing that like brings me out of that is coming here and showing up here. And when I feel that way, I'm just continuously reminded of the impact that this place has on me. And then by delivering it to the people like yourself or clients that come in the door, it just emboldens me to continue this because it gives me the vitality. And when I'm not doing this, there isn't anything else I'd rather be doing with a career or my future at the moment. And it just turns my light on. And I'm always trying to figure out, I'm just a solution person, a detailed, like, why is this so? Which is very curious about everything. After the military, I went through like a lot of things mentally, like a lot of mental health stuff. And I think through that journey, it made me super curious as to why things are the way that they are, which led me into spirituality, which led me into inner knowing, which led me to find all the strength and everything had always been within me. I just had been shut off from it, the dissociated part, because life happens and it gets really hard and you don't know how to do it. Uh, yeah. Or just like what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to, like, or it should. I had somebody tell me a long time ago, like, stop shoulding all over yourself. You're like, who says you should or shouldn't X, Y, or Z? Like, what do you want? Like, if you come in needless, wantless, that's where we start. Find out what your needs are and then what your wants are and shoot for the moon. Like, who says I like to say, why not have a big life? Whatever a big life looks like to you. Mine was to not be drinking in a small hole, waiting for someone to show up and save me. That was like a little tiny life. Now I get to live this life. It's so huge.
Yeah.
And there just feels like,
Impact a ton of people.
man, that's why I say it's not about capacity, because I feel like I could do anything, but we have to know what we can do in a day and scheduling fun and all that. I'm, working on that. But I think my job is fun, but I know that we have to have some separateness to it. Otherwise, I forget that I'm a human and I'm not a labeled veteran. I'm just a person in the world. And it's not this really big mission that will end someday. It's just showing up for what's up every day and being grateful for it and helping others find their way. because
I think you said I'm not labeled as just a veteran. Like, for one, I think that's a very important label. Like, I'm very proud to be a veteran. I know you're very proud to be a veteran, but I'm also very proud to, be a good partner at work. And I'm sure you're proud of the same thing. Proud to be a good dad, a good husband. And I think veterans, when they get out, they're so stuck to that stigma. Like, you have a label, U.S. Army, Marines, Navy, whatever it is. It's like, okay, that chapter is a great chapter. It's a wonderful chapter, and you need to be so proud of it. But also, you have so many other important labels that you can tie to yourself, and you need to remember that not just one, not just veteran, not just disabled veteran, not wounded veteran, not combat veteran. Yeah, there's a lot more to each individual person that walks into your office or that gets out of the military than just that one label.
yeah, because when we have that mentality, that's where you get the veterans with the entitled sense of purpose for themselves. Like, well, I'm a veteran. Oh, I'm a war veteran. Now I'm a disabled war veteran. I
Yeah,
all these things. It's like, okay. And then you're still making your world really small. And then you're only this one thing. And you're not allowing yourself to be more than that. And for me, I felt stuck as a veteran with PTSD. Like, that's who I thought I was. That's all I was. And because I couldn't get help there, I thought I was just broken, and that's where life ended until somebody at the Tucson VA, he said, Nicole, there is no box. It was this matrix moment. I tell everybody this story. It was so cool. He's like, there is no spoon. And he's like, Nicole, there is no box. And I don't know why. I don't know what I was that day, but it just clicked in me. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not just a veteran with PTSD on my head, and this is my life. Like I couldn't do anything about any of it. But now that I know I have options, and yeah, I'm more than just that. Once I figured out that the VA doesn't have all the answers and that I didn't have to be completely dependent on that.
yeah.
And whether I'm a veteran or not, I needed to give myself more credit for all the things before the military and after that I've done with my life that I could probably be waving a bigger flag about, you know?
I think that's what I like about your facility. Like, it recognizes they're a veteran, but you're showing people that they are more than that. Like, there is no box. Like, awesome, you're a veteran. We're going to support you. And I forget how you say it. Lead with, what is it? Something about trauma care or,
Yeah, trauma informed care.
yeah, like, you guys provide that. But you're a veteran. Come here, get your resources, use the resources. But now we're going to help you be so much more than just a veteran with these labels.
So I gave it the three R's because there's so many C's out in the community. I like the R's. So the reconnect, rebuild, and rise piece. It's universal. Anybody can do that. Reconnecting with your community and yourself, and then rebuilding from that place. That's new sense of community, that new sense of self. And through that part, you gain so much self awareness because there is no box. Like, oh shit, here I am. I have all of this. And then there more will be revealed. You're like, I am holding so much back and I'm holding so much in. And then I think that self awareness really opens up the box to recreate a new way of living and that new perspective on life. And then you just see people take off from there. They just need a safe place to process and to see that lotus just open wide up. And we see people come off medications as they start working with the holistic department here, coming into the body and the breath and moving that static trauma or limiting beliefs out of the body and the mind, getting out of your own way, and then rising to this next level of you, this new version of you, unimpeded. And then once you're up there, then you can turn around and help another person out and show them that it's possible. A lot of
Yeah.
12-step work groups, they show you the same thing. And whatever, faith denominations can show you the same thing through all their parables. And like for me, the ancient Stoics, I love doing that because you can be a true slave to some big system, or you can be a slave to your mind. And it's like you have to know how free you are because we create our own reality. It is up to us. It might not have been our fault or anything about what happened to us, but it is our responsibility now to take action. So as soon as we get them into that forward motion, just start taking action from where you are, small things, and then you just keep it going. But like if that first step is too big, break it down. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you can't do it, just break it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you eat an elephant?
We don't. Oh my God.
One bite at a time.
Elephants are my spirit animal.
All right, how do you eat a big animal? One bite at a time. So you break it down into little steps and you just build your momentum. Before you know that big animal, since it's not an elephant, it's gone. You've hit your goal.
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh, that wasn't actually that hard at all." It's just the conversation that we have in our heads that builds it up to be bigger than what it is. So I like to do the Mel
The
Robbins
biggest
5,
thing.
4, 3, 2, 1 and just take action on the first thing. Make your bed. Just
Yeah.
think about the day, not the week and all that jazz. But I think the ultimate thing for me is leading with intention for the day. Like, what's the one intention I have today? And then get after that. Everything else will happen. But I'm like, if I just do these things and get out the door to take care of this one intention, as soon as I get out the door, I feel like I can do anything.
Are you consistent with it every day?
My intention?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, every day. I have my journal and I read and write every single morning. I was telling Jack last week, it's my power hour. So I have my hour of Nicole. I do
I
not
like
look at
that.
my phone when I wake up. And so for the first hour, it's just me and my book and my intentions and my gratitude and just reminding myself of who I am, what I'm capable of, and what my objective is. What's my objective as a woman, as a director, as a just a person in the world. What is my objective? It's not to stay small and hide under the covers and be warm and comfortable because I don't know. I can't do that. Unless I'm loaded, there's no way I can stay in one place. Yeah. There's something to achieve. There's always something to achieve. And it's not like glory or anything like that, but it's like I want to be able to like have a notch on the day. And like
Mm-hmm.
no 0 days, like
Oh,
especially for athletes.
that's probably something that I need to incorporate because the first thing I do when I wake up is grab my phone and start scanning my emails, and it just makes me sick
No.
every day. Look at my emails, look at my calendar, and that's a terrible habit.
It
Yeah,
is. Yeah, it absolutely is. I love the power hour.
I need my power hour with me.
Yeah. Before my feet
Wake
hit
up
the
a little bit
floor, I'm
earlier.
already grateful. And I like to learn from, people who've had a lot more just I guess when you've had nothing and then you had to struggle and you survived all of that. And then, I wake up today and I have a really great life. And sometimes I forget that I did that. I survived that and I rebuilt my life. And now I'm in the rise part where I get to help others do that. But I forgot what it was like to be so broken, but still persevered and became extremely resilient to where things that take me out now, it's like a 12-hour cycle. I'm back on in 12, before it would be months or years. I mean, over time, that you just get back up faster. And then, like, as of late, I've been going through this thing and I'm like, take a breath and look how far you've come. How much strength did it take to persevere through all of that? So like if I'm facing something today that I think is hard, I have to remind myself, I'm like, this is not hard. And Wanda Wright, she said this to me a couple months ago. She goes, this is not hard, Nicole. The shit you went through in the military was hard. Losing your friends to suicide is hard. Going to war was hard. Enduring multiple deployments and MST and all the shit that came in the fallout when I got out. She goes, that was hard. She goes, today it's just logistics. It's just learning a new skill to adapt, like you said, to this new environment and this new way of life. So it's using the words that how we describe ourselves and our situations intentionally that really take the power out of the fear and the hesitation and the doubt, like just rephrasing it. I had a psychologist a long time ago. She goes, when you start talking shit to yourself, she goes, say it like in a funny voice, like Batman, like I'm a piece of shit. And you just laugh. You're like, it sounds ridiculous. Like you're not a piece of shit, like so every time I'm
Yeah, it's a
talking
much
shit to
better way to
myself,
handle it.
huh?
You're Batman.
I'm Batman. Yes. I don't know how
Yeah,
low that gets, but when you're talking shit to yourself, you're like, is that true? Is there evidence for that? Like, be honest with yourself. Are you on a pity pot? Like, I just get up, I do like 10 push ups real quick, or I do jumpy jacks, or, just getting out of the cycle, the loop,
yeah.
because you're just like, dress rehearsing tragedy, Brene Brown says. Like, you're foreboding shame and fear, and like that you can create, you can manifest that into existence if you want,
Hmm.
or you can do the opposite and you can manifest something positive and get out of it. It's just like coming back to the breath, coming back to the mind, just like, okay, there I go again. Not talking shit, like non judgmentally coming back. You're like, oh, there I go again. I'm not judging myself. It's like,
And surprisingly enough, I am familiar with Brene Brown.
she's a queen, man. Yeah. Like nobody knew about her for a long time. And they're like, oh, yeah, she's this overnight success. And no, she was doing 20 years of shame data, like,
Yeah.
wow. Um, And so when people come in here after however many years in the service, like I stayed late Monday night because we had the once a month we have the Coast Guard. They meet here, active duty and retired, because they're still really active in Arizona, like taking care of the waters and boaters and all this stuff. So it was here till like after 6, and our main guy, Jack Isaacson, he's like our number one volunteer. He's like 100 years old and he's been in the service forever, and now he's a part of all these groups. Father Time. So he had like an hour, and I just sat down and I listened to him tell me some stories about what he did in the service. And my jaw just kept getting closer and closer to the floor because I was just like, what the hell, man? He, was in multiple branches, and he worked on all different kinds of ships and planes, and he worked with like huge corporations in the world. And but he just kind of just like, yeah, that was just what I did. I just did the next right thing, the next evolution. And he laughs
Is he
through the
really
whole
101?
he's like 87.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's always wearing like a sideways Coast Guard hat. And he inundates my mailbox with everything about the VA and how to do this, that, and the other. And he always shows up for everything. And maintaining his vitality and still being in this world is because he just remains a part of the service community, being of service to others by everything that he's learned throughout his experience in life. He's given it back. You're just like, I just kind of fall in love with that, just continuing to be, just reciprocate what was so freely given to us. And
Yeah.
just because I was given like $1 million worth of treatment from the VA, and a lot of people aren't privy to that. So I just want to teach from what I've learned to others by way of my story, which is I like to invite you guys on here to tell your stories so that we can share it with others without writing a novel and doing all that, which you should probably do. It sounds like you have a great story in there.
I don't know. I might write one for my kids so they can read about my life, but that'll probably be it.
Well,
Weirdly enough, that's what I had my dad do for totally sidebarring random shit here. My dad was a Navy veteran. He, I think, was probably the reason I went in the Army. I didn't want to go to the Navy. I'm not a big fan of the water, not the big ocean. But I asked him a couple of years ago, I was like, hey, for Christmas, can you write me like your life? And so he did. He took like 6 months and it's 100 pages. He took it down to some place and had it formatted into a little book for me. It's pretty badass. So I told him, I was like, hey, as you think of more things, I need you to write them down. That way, the boys and I have something to read and his other grandkids. He's like, damn, I don't want to think about me being gone. But I mean, he did. He did a great job with it. It's awesome.
that's really
So,
special. Are you doing that for your kids?
no, I probably should.
That could be your power hour little thing.
Power every morning, just start writing stuff down.
It's somewhere, right?
March 26th, 1980. That's where it starts.
You just
Yeah, it was
you
a
just like
cold,
start
snowy
with an
day.
idea from today and then see where it's like that stream of consciousness. You just start
Hmm.
writing. No end in mind, no idea, no intention, no nothing. You just put pen to paper, stream of consciousness. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Just see what comes out. No grammar check.
That's
Fuck
right.
that. You just go. And that opens up the creative juices in the mind. Because there's nothing in your way. There's no one going to judge it. You can burn it after. You can do whatever you want.
I should do that for my kids. Other people should do that for their kids. So, or family or friends or whatever, but get your story out there.
Yeah. Because I got,
Yeah,
man, ugh, take this thing with me everywhere. This is like number 12 of my series, writing my struggles, my comeuppance, my successes, and everything in between. So
that's cool.
that one day I can turn it into something.
I do have a saving grace on the topic of writing stuff down. When my first son was, when we were expecting him, like I was on deployment orders. So we knew we were leaving shortly after he was born. So I started writing a journal before he was born. And I was like, oh, well, shit, like I'll have something written down for him. Like, God forbid, something happens to me and I'm not home. At least I'll have something from his dad. So I took it with me overseas and I would write letters to him like every couple of days. So I get back home. That was my last deployment. I got out after that. But I kept writing, I mean, in it for years. Every couple months, maybe I'd forget for 6 months, but then I'd write more stuff down just about what he's doing in life or what I'm doing. And then on his 18th birthday, I gave it to him. And I was like, here you go, dude. He knew it was coming. Yeah, he's got it up in his room. He's got his little 18-year journal. So it started before he was born.
Man, I got goosebumps. That is so cool. Wow. That's the best gift. Best gift.
I know that my second son, I started one for him, and I'm a shithead. It's like a quarter of the way filled. I keep forgetting about it. I'm like, oh goddamn.
Man, those first kids, they always get everything. That's what I tell my sister. I'm like, you got all the good stuff.
Yep. And he asked, he's like, am I getting to get one? I was like, yeah, buddy, you'll get one. But I got a lot of writing to do to fill that sucker up in 3 years before he turns 18.
Do you guys still
So I
do
got to
baby
get on it.
books? Are those still a thing? Because like
I
everything's
mean, my
digital
youngest,
now, but like you don't have like a baby book.
I think we do for both of them. I don't know about parents now.
You had one growing up,
My
right?
yeah, I had one growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope we don't
like
lose
the little
that going to this.
it's like the little cellophane books. You peel it
I
back
know.
and you put the pictures in there,
Yeah.
and all the pictures are like yellowish looking.
Like
Or
you've been
probably for me,
smoking and you
I'm so
take a
old.
picture off the wall.
Yes, yep. My mom's got one of me somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my youngest brother, he's the 8th child, and he didn't have a
Yeah.
very special book, but the rest of us all had it. But
They
he's
were
all
tired of getting
digital, like, he
free.
could give a shit, but I think it's good to have later in life. What are you gonna
Yeah,
do if the internet goes down and you have, you know but I guess all that we're left with is how we make each other feel,
yeah,
and I think that's what's missing out here is letting everybody know how you feel about them and just being honest, memento mori. This could be the last day we have on earth, and let that determine what you do and say. So be a good person, be kind to yourself and to others. I have a little Buddhist prayer that I say every day that reminds me to be grateful for my breath and for the people that I meet. I want to meet their eyes and smile, even if they don't smile back, but just if like that's the only good thing that they had happen to them today, that's that little thing I can go out there with in the world. And that's a
yeah.
lot. And that's enough, because for a long time, I never looked up from the ground. My head was always down. And when people come in here like that, I'm just reminded of how far I've come and wanting to instill in them something that can keep them looking up, and viewing the world as not a threat, but as something so abundant and vast that they can just go out there and grab what's theirs to claim and get all that negative limiting belief shit out of the way, get the trauma out of the body, and a safe place to express themselves. And we're building a stage, not just for the podcast, but for, veteran forums and any kind of activity, just a sacred, safe place to tell a story, to express through music or art, whatever that looks like for you.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, we deserve it and we need us. We all do in the world. And if this is the hub that we get to have here, I want it to be, I want everyone who comes in here to have ownership in it, just because I was able to see the vision for it and put it in place. I need everyone to come in here and help it succeed and breathe on its own. So I'm so grateful that our paths crossed and you were able to come in here and share this resource with us and your story. There's still so much more to unpack. And I know that we'll have you on again. And after the build is done, then we'll do like a full thing. But in the interim, we're open and we'll be setting up some dates if you need to get your resume work done or if you're looking to get back into the workforce or change careers. Now that you've heard what we said here, are you in the best quality of life that you want? Are you reaching your goals or are you facing barriers? So, Derek, would be okay if we put your contact info down below for those job seekers or people who just maybe want to get to know you better?
absolutely.
So,
So I know you have my work info. I'll get you like my personal email. I don't give a shit. Like let people reach out to me if they need help. They need help. Like I'm here for them. So absolutely.
thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Sounds like you got a bunch of fur babies and real babies. And
Yeah, my oldest just walked downstairs, and my dog's on the couch behind me. I'm sure waiting for me to hang out with her.
yeah, well, you're doing great work out there. Thanks for joining us today on the spotlight and sharing the hope. I heard an acronym for hope is hearing other people's experiences. So thanks for your hope today.
Yeah,
Thanks
well,
for
thank you for having me.
yeah, man. Your service out there is so valuable. It's invaluable. You know the way you speak about it and how you're honored by doing the work that you do speaks volumes. So you left this veteran feeling really good today. And I'm just going to take that energy and process it to the next person walking in the door. And that's
Well,
how
I'll
we
do
do
the
it.
same. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Derek. And to everyone out there watching, it is Memorial Day weekend. Please be safe. We all have a lot of fun things lined up. And if you don't, please go to arizonaveterans.com. There's a whole list of things that you can get involved with, or come on down here. We have a bunch of flyers of community events that are happening. And there is also something happening on Sunday. The JMAC podcast is doing an improv with Mr. Kev. He's a Marine veteran doing some comedy and networking and a live podcast. It's really cool. It's in Phoenix. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. I think it's really important for all of us to go hang out and do something fun together. Like I was saying at the beginning, I want to go try to have some fun. And please be safe. Do not drink and drive, and look after each other, because we're all worth it, and we're all looking to find more and more hope and fruitfulness in our lives so we can take care of ourselves and our loved ones. So you're worth it. Don't forget that. And if you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. See you next time on The Spotlight.